All right. Let me know if you can hear me. Okay, okay. I welcome everyone to this live broadcast, and today we'll be diving into practical data loss prevention. Yes, my name is Ben Ugwuja, your usual live host, and I will be talking about data loss prevention for 30 minutes. If you have any question, you have contributions, you can do that on the comment section and I will attend to them swiftly. All right. So, what if I told you your employees could email a database, a PDF document, Excel sheet with your entire customer information to their personal email? Without that, very, very possible. Okay. And your security system wouldn't even notice this. That's a risk, right? It's not just a risk, it's a compliance issue, compliance violation that could lead to financial loss, litigations, and the rest of them. So today it's not just data loss prevention. We're going to be looking at the practical steps on how to deploy and implement DLP solutions on cloud infrastructure and on-premise infrastructure. Okay, so we'll show you with examples, provided with tools and a very good environment for you to practice. All right. My name is Ben Ugwuja. I'm an offensive security professional practicing for over 23 years. If you have questions for me, be free, whether on data protection, cybersecurity that relates data loss prevention. I'll be happy and willing to respond. Okay. All right. Without wasting much time, I would like to go into the business of the day. And let's look at what DLP stands for. Okay, DLP means data loss prevention, and we're going to make it very simple for everyone to understand this. Make it very very simple for everyone to understand. Uh, it's just like having your security guard watching over your data all the time. That's just DLP. Okay, he's seated there and our data at rest. While data is moving, that is when email is being sent or files being uploaded or downloaded. And then, like files being copied, edited, you have a security solution that can monitor these processes and prevent the leakage of data. That is data loss prevention. Okay, if you look at what we have on our slide, we have the the GDPR, the NDPR implementation of the DLP solutions. We're going to break that down so you can understand why you have to implement these solutions. Very, very important. Okay, I've mentioned that someone is asking, what do you mean by data in motion? Okay, in this context, that is data being sent through email, messages, file transfers, and all that. That's what we refer to as data in motion. Okay, yes, I mentioned data at rest, data in motion, data in use. That is data currently being edited or viewed by a system. Data at rest, the files you have stored with a hard drive or cloud storage. Okay, so what does DLP? What does it do? What does it do? What does it do? Now, if you look at what we have here, the GDPR requires organizations to implement technical measures to prevent personal data from being compromised. Now, this is not just enough, okay? If you know how to implement and configure, it's not enough. you must also, according to um, that regulation, you must also verify that it's working effectively. The problem we're having is that people implement, they deploy, and they do not verify. That you have tested it today and it's working fine does not mean it will not stop working tomorrow. Okay, we have talked about what could make an effective system to stop working after some time. So go back and look at that training. So if your DLP solution doesn't block or alert you on real threats, like a staff trying to email a client um, about sensitive file, then your DLP solution is not working fine. Is that okay? All right. So what does it actually do? Number one, it detects. It detects. It detects, and it's different from your intrusion detection system. Intrusion detection system that detects intrusion. But the DLP solution detects, like I said, the data at rest. Okay, it detects malicious activity and blocks them. That is depends on how you have implemented them or how you have configured them. For example, if you have configured in such a way that when a staff member is trying to upload a sensitive file to Dropbox, Google Drive, it should detect and block. That is uh, that is what it does. Secondly, there are rules like your DFP solution should not allow sending of BVN or a particular sensitive file as depending on your sector or organization. Okay, so that is what it does. All right. Uh, I want to also inform us that DLP solution is not optional. It is not optional. Okay. Uh, Whether you have the fund or not is something you have to do. It is not optional. We have seen, if you look at the law, especially the regulation on data protection, section 26F, yes, 6, you must, according to the Nigerian law, the NDPR, you must secure data against all threats including cyber attacks, theft, fire, loss, and the rest of them. So it is your responsibility as an organization, a cybersecurity professional, to secure data. Okay, you know what it means to go against the law. So if you don't do these things, you violate it. That's violation. And if it's an organization, you are not compliant. And if you're a security professional, you cannot implement this, you don't know your job. It's quite simple. Now, if you look at that regulation, section 2, section 6G, says you can't send personal data to anyone unless the user agrees or it's allowed by law. I just interpreted that section of the regulation. Okay, so that very easy for everyone to understand. I have not just professionals listening. I also have managers. I have board of directors that are not IT from the IT background. So I'm going to be using very simple terms for everyone to understand. So I'm not spending more time. I think I have just few minutes. What I'm doing here is I'm breaking down the reward scenario and providing practical implementation of DLP solution. Okay, you can see it detects and prevents data breaches. Okay, it enforces security policies. It depends on how you have configured and also implemented your solutions. It ensures compliance very well and protects sensitive data. Okay, we do not value data much in this country, but data is very, very expensive. Even data is more valuable than oil in many countries. You know, and that is why you have some of these decoys providing you with uh, their free services just to get your data. On Facebook, you don't pay. On uh, social media, lots of them you do not pay. It's free. You provide your data, and you don't know that is money. Okay, so data is money, real money. All right, then if you look at the EU GDPR, GDPR stands for General Data Protection Regulation. It covers all countries under the EU under Article 32, Article 32 of GDPR. Okay, you must you must test and prove that systems are actually securing personal data. You see that? So that you have deployed or implemented DLP solutions is not enough. You must test and then you verify. In your audit report, you also need to specify that you have tested the solution and it's working effectively as that so and so date. Okay, that is why it's required for you to submit your audit report. As at the time, I will post that information here for organizations that are willing to going to a meeting. If you have not done that, you should do that. So, so we're going to be talking about the implementation. Okay, the implementation. Of course, you don't just implement and forget about it. You have to prove it's working according to GDPR. So GDPR, the NDPR, the HiPAA, the ISO 27001, all of them they conform to this code. Okay, so what we want to do here is to deploy and implement real life DLP solutions and also test its effectiveness on how it can detect, block, alert on violations. Someone says, who receives the alert? Well, yes, depends on the national hierarchy. Of course, the person who has the authority to take this to take decision, manager, IT director, or whoever that is in charge. You understand? So if you have a SOC, a security operation system, there could be a dashboard alert to alert whoever that would be able to block or take decision on the threat, perceived threat. Okay, so step one now. Step one on DLP solutions. Look at that. Step one. You need to first identify the rule. You don't just deploy. What rule or what settings would be okay for the kind of data? That would depend on the organization. That would depend on the kind of sensitive data you handle and the sector you cover. Okay, so you'll be able to detect. Now, for example, you can say block emails that contain uh, Nigerian BVN or NIN. What it means is that if anyone within that organization emails NIN or BVN, the system blocks that email and alerts the administrator. You see that? So if anyone uploads, be it an Excel file, PDF, or whatever that contains the BVN, NIN, or ID, PFA number, staff, whatever, any data you have classified as highly sensitive, okay, then you can set this rule to block it. You see that? So you can see from here. Um, all right. I opened this slide just to answer someone's question. It says, uh, is it compulsory? Is it compulsory? Look at this. This is 2019. National Data Protection Regulation 2019. You can see that. That's the principles of data protection. That data shall be secured against all hazards and breaches, such as theft, cyber attack, dissemination, manipulation of any kind, damage by rain, exposure, or any natural elements. Okay, that is section 66F, and then we have 26G. That data shall not be transferred to any person or entity except as authorized by the data subject. Okay, data subjects, they are the person who owns data. We refer to them as data subject. Now you can look at our interpretation down here that says, uh, so if a staff emails sensitive data, okay, and that email was not authorized, and your DLP solution was not able to the data, it means your organization is not compliant under this section. It's quite simple, and what it's saying is that you must obey you must obey the NDPR 2019 that says, number one, you have to implement, number two, you have to test, number three, you have to audit. Okay, show working. All right, um, let's make progress. Okay, so now if you look at, if you're ready, we have some tools we will need to install to make this a success. So first we'll need a DLP software. We'll provide that for trainees and VIP organizations, the DLP solution software from our partner. And we're going to provide data, we're going to provide test data, we'll provide test user accounts for uh, violation simulation. Then we'll provide three operating systems. We provide the Windows, Linux, and we have the running cloud infrastructure we're going to be using for this demonstration. Okay, so the essence is to have DLP rules tailored to data types such as health records, HiPAA, the sensitive data as classified here in Nigeria, so that they can detect, they can block, they can alert, they can log, which is very, very important. If you have a solution that cannot log, logging is the accounting part of cybersecurity, which is the CIA. Okay, confidentiality, integrity, and the A there is the log. Okay, that you should have a record of every activity on the computer system. So every email that goes in, email that comes in, attachments, uploads, you should have a log, who uploaded, who downloaded, at what time, from what PC, and so you should have that information as a log. So DSP solution should be able to provide the the log in real time. So you are not compliant if, very important, if, okay, if your DLP solution is not blocking the threats. So you can test that yourself. If you can send sensitive data from your email outside the network, then you are not compliant. Number two, it was not properly configured, or the implementation route was wrong. And if no one is reviewing the logs, also we are not compliant. You see that? So don't wait until data leaks. Data breach is an offense in Nigeria now. If you're not aware, let me inform you. Okay, the law requires you do more than install softwares. You must prove it works. That is GDPR, NDPR. You must prove it works. So NDPR says deploy, test, verify, and comply. You see that? And NDPR says the same, that you need a DLP solution to pass a particular test. Okay, that's fine. And if you have questions, like I've said, drop the questions. I'm going to attend to them so that so practical implementation now. Practical implementation. Uh, I have just few minutes to round off. So these are the tools we'll be needing: the operating systems, Ubuntu, Server, Windows Server 2022, 2024. If you have those ones, we're going to be using them for this implementation. And what we want to do is implement an alert. Okay, there has to be a warning that pops up when someone tries to do something risky, like uh, upload a sensitive file, be it database, Excel, be it a PDF document containing sensitive files, be it anything at all that contains data that has been classified as sensitive. So number two, we want to implement a solution that will block or stop that action entirely. It is either it blocks or it archives or suspends the action. Okay. Number three, we also need to implement a logging system that keeps record of whatever that happens in and out of your network, including the email systems, the data transfers, USB block. Of course, during our last conference, we were able to demonstrate to the National Assembly that blocking the USB is not enough, which every organization, that is what they do. They block their USB ports, okay, just to protect their systems from intrusions from flash drives and other external storage. But in that conference, we were able to bypass that to control the systems and inject malwares into the computer. So all those things don't really matter. You need to deploy a solution that is working effectively. Now, the thing is, uh, uh, solutions have evolved, attacks on the rise. There are highly offensive tools that can bypass some of these basic solutions people deploy, just like blocking the USB and the rest of them. So, but today we are going to show you how you can effectively, okay, for those who are using the Microsoft Server, AD, Azure, and the rest of them. We're going to show you how to block um, your USB in such a way that a hacker will not be able to bypass this security. Okay, we have showcased in our our programs how EDR, the endpoint detection response systems, could be bypassed. We have done that severally, and in our last conference also, we also showcased how a CMS application could be hacked, of which we hacked one, we saw it live, and we gained access to the backend. We were able to work on the data and download that data. Now, if a hacker could get into your database, your backend, and you didn't receive any alert, it means your solution is not working fine. So that is what we are going to be doing. So we have the tools and the prerequisites. We are going to start the implementation. And if you are part of the VIP organizations to witness this implementation, we will start that in the next 5 minutes. Okay. So we have just few minutes to round off. If you have questions, drop the questions and I'm going to respond to that question. For those that will be joining me uh, for the practical implementation, that will be done 4 p.m. today. 4 p.m. Get all these tools. We'll send you all the links for downloads and provide all the login credentials you'll be needing for this implementation. All right. Of course, my name is Ben Ugwuja. I'm offensive security expert, and I'll be demonstrating live after implementation. I'm going to be demonstrating some trying out some bypass and try to see if the system actually logs our activities. So that is, the hacker gets into the system. An insider threat tries to upload, download, or email sensitive files. We're going to check that out to see if it actually works. All right, thank you for joining me for this first section. I will return for the practical implementation. Make sure you have all your tools ready. And if you're having any issue installation, um, we have we have staff that could assist you during installation so that you'll be ready for us during the implementation.